Hello again, everyone. Another message from YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry, Facebook. Hey, Ali, I've been watching your videos religiously after realizing I was dealing with a covert narcissist 4 months ago. They have been so therapeutic. But after the incident, I always knew something was wrong with my husband's family, but could never quite put my finger on it. After said incident, I was in need of answers because no normal human being would work like this, right? To back way up, I myself had a good upbringing, a normal family. I got pregnant at a young age with my now husband. We had a lot of issues. Not only were we babies trying to raise a baby, I now know that I was dealing with my husband's side effects of growing up in a narcissistic household. I felt he never respected me. Now I know he didn't respect women because of his mother's controlling and manipulative behavior. And that's true when you're dealing with someone, with a male whose mother is the narcissist and was controlling that male. They usually have very limited respect for women. And usually that's in anger. They see every woman as their mother, and how they react to every other woman is how they really wanted to react towards their mother, but never had the balls to. Anyways, his mom from the jump hated me. They always do. And she wasn't hesitant to let me know that. We had words once. She turned his whole family against me, saying how terrible I was to her son. I was immature and rude to her. And if you notice here, it's always how terrible you are, what a horrible person you are, and then backed up by something, some slight you did against them, how rude you were to them, some kind of personal insult, which is usually some bullshit. Just basically having the nerve to stand up for yourself is being rude and insulting to the narcissistic mother. Back then, I didn't hold my tongue when she pulled her shit. After we got married, I felt we had a common ground. Me keeping my mouth shut because if I didn't, her and her wolves of the family members would go into attack mode. So I ate a lot of crow. Fast forward 4 months ago, family vacation. My husband, our two children, brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and their daughter. And last but not least, dear old covert mama. Well, I got to stop you right there. I got to stop right there. Why in God's name would you go on vacation with this monster? And we all do it. We all do it. I mean, my parents used to go down to my narcissistic grandmother's house all the time. But when you sit back and think about it logically, why would you even go there to begin with somebody? A vacation is supposed to be a place, it's something you do to relax, to de-stress, to treat yourself. Why would you right from the get go with somebody you can't freaking stand? She was pulling her regular shit, paid for her meal, no thank you. Well, they never say thank you. That's because they think that it's owed to them. Giggling at my daughter, who she says looks like me, for having an earache. Again, why did you bring this woman along? And bitching about everything. So are you ready for the straw that broke the camel's back? Sure. We were out of bread that we needed to picnic for lunch. So I got ready, told him I was going to the store to get some. Bam, instant attitude from this woman. What? Why? Rolling her eyes and such. I asked what was the problem. She said, forget it. Just go. I was stunned, confused, and pissed. I decided, fuck this, I'm not going to get this shit for anyone. That night after dinner, my husband and brother-in-law got in a huge screaming match over him banging on the door, waking my screaming children. Brother-in-law started screaming, cursing, getting in my husband's face, all in front of our two children. Where was mommy dearest? Again, I'm going to have to ask the question. Why in God's name would you set yourself up for this to go on vacation with these people? And that's not an attack on you or any, because we all do it. We all do it because we think we're going to keep the peace. And you're not. There's no appeasing these people. Vacation's supposed to be relaxed, but you're like, it's like saying, hey, can I get a ticket to hell for vacation? Sounds awesome. Bolting outside, I yelled, "Y'all quit cussing and screaming in front of the kids." My brother-in-law turns to me with my 3-year-old daughter laying right beside me and says, "Fuck you, bitch." My daughter bawls. Again, because you've been, okay, and this is the problem. This is like my brother, okay? When you're marked as a black sheep or as an enemy, these fucking people think they can do and say whatever they please to you. Like you're not even a human being, you don't even matter. So they just feel that they can do and say whatever they feel like it. And that's really a disrespect to your husband too. Because if your husband didn't turn around and kick his fucking teeth down his throat, you should have a real problem with that. Big mistake. The next day on the beach, in front of a ton of onlookers, my mother-in-law and brother-in-law ganged up on me. You know what? As soon as he screwed, what do you mean the next day on the beach? See, and this is the problem. The next day on the beach, there shouldn't even have been a next day on the beach. You should have been like, get the fuck out. Leave. Because it sounds like you were paying for everything anyway. There shouldn't even have been a next day on the beach. There shouldn't even have been a vacation with these people. Again, in front of my children, said they always have hated me. I'm a black magic witchcraft voodoo manipulator, made me laugh, and that I've turned my husband against his family. And they always make sure they got a good audience when they do shit like this. They aren't too cunning because they did this right in front of my husband. Then, to top it all off, this 54-year-old woman says, "Fuck you," and proceeds to bring up past issues and things I've confided in her in front of everyone. Okay, that's another mistake of yours. Why would you have confided anything in this woman? Because you thought by confiding in her, maybe you would gain favor with her, that she, no, no. Anything you tell them, anything you confide in them, is just ammunition. It goes in their ammo storage shed to be brought out, to be used against you at their earliest convenience. It's a ticking time bomb. Things she stored in her arsenal to use on me on the right occasion. Exactly, that's what I just said. And then laughing at me crying about how upset my daughter was. Evil, pure evil. So we left and never looked back. All right, thank God. Thank God you finally had enough. Your husband still should have buried her fucking face in the sand. 4 months later, we are dealing with her flying monkey family, guilting us because of our injustice we are doing to our children by not letting them have contact with her. No, you're doing your children solid by not keeping them all away. It breaks my heart because they love her. They are too young to know her narc ways and don't insist why they can't see her. I hate seeing my children hurt. My husband totally has my back. I respect him for that, but he has been hard. I'm torn between my kids being hurt and doing what I feel is best for my family. Doing what's best for your family is keeping your kids away from these people. That's what's best for your family, your husband included. Thanks for listening. I'd love to touch base more on covert narc mother-in-laws, grandchildren, and her jealous ways of me, and the role I play in my husband and kids' life. She wants all the control, and I'm not ever standing down to her. It's my family. Thanks in advance. Keep up the amazing work. Best wishes. And what you got here is your typical narcissistic family unit, headed up by a narcissistic mother. Okay, but your mistake was confiding anything in her to begin with, because you've known from the beginning that she was a problem. It should have never even have been dragged out. Or after even like making the mistake of going on vacation with them, it should have never even made it to the beach that day, because it should have ended right there and then. Yes, your husband has your back now, but he should have shut him down the second he turned around and said, "Fuck you, bitch," okay? Because nobody talks to my wife, should be able to talk to their wife like that. And I will say this about my parents. If they ever had said anything like that, okay, to my ex-wife, which they never did, or when my mother did threaten to kill this wife, okay, which is why we moved away and got as far fucking away from as possible. Okay, it should have ended right there, right then. But then they're always going to then say, oh, well, you're hurting your kids by not letting them see us. Well, why would you want to see a child that looks like me anyway and you hate me? You don't love these children. You only care about yourself. They're full of shit. They obviously want something. They want to be able to keep torturing you. Stay away from them and never look back. Never, ever look back. But people like this will escalate. They will escalate. They will try stuff. They will try whatever they can to get their way with you. You know, you have to stay strong, and you have to make sure your husband is done with it. And you have to make it clear to your husband, I am done dealing with these people. Never, ever, ever again. Ever again. And if you're going to make me choose endangering our children or seeing your parents, I'm going to choose my children. And if you want to go have a relationship with these people, knowing what they are, knowing how they treat me and your children and you, then you can't have both. You can't have us and them. You can't choose to have any sort of relationship with these people anymore because they are fucking toxic. We go on vacation with them. We're paying for stuff. They're being abusive towards us, disrespectful. He tells me to fuck off, bitch. She's being on a public beach. Enough. You know everything you need to know about these people at this point. They're never going to change. It's only going to get worse. And the fact that she used, like you said, stuff you had confided in her at an earlier date, only to be used against you later. What would be the point? Because let's just say hypothetically, you said, okay, let's give him another chance. Do you honestly think that sometime down the road that this incident isn't going to be thrown in your face down the road if the opportunity should arise? Of course it would. Of course it would. So why even subject yourself to the attack that you know is inevitably going to come because they can't control themselves? Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Again, I wish you luck. I hope your daughter wasn't too traumatized by it. You know, make sure you explain to them that Daddy's side of the family is sick. They got problems. And never, ever act like that. You want to instill that in your children, especially since they've seen it firsthand and they've cried over it. You need to instill in these girls, don't ever act like that. Ever, ever, ever. As tempting as it might be sometimes, you can never act like that, because how you feel, and you got to tell your kids, you know how bad it made you feel that you were crying? Would you ever want to make somebody feel that way yourself? Because that's how somebody else would feel if you treated them like that. So it's very important that your children understand that. You know, you can use this as a learning experience for them, because honestly, they're the most important. They're the most important ones out of all this. They're the ones you really need to protect, and you really need to make sure that they're okay. And your husband too. I mean, your husband does seem like he's a decent guy. You know, he's probably very confused by all this, and it's just, but I'm glad he finally stood up for himself and fought back. The key now is that he understands who and what they are, and that they're never, ever going to change. And that he needs to understand, if you ever go back to them, they will eventually throw this up in your face in public, in front of other people, to embarrass and humiliate you, because that's what they do. That's why they do it. They're trying to embarrass and humiliate you in front of people. So don't even subject yourself to it. Thank you for the letter. Thank you everybody for watching. And remember, if you enjoy this channel, please consider contributing to the GoFundMe link in the description box. And remember, if you want your story made into a video and you do contribute, you go right to the top of the list and you have a video made. First opportunity I get. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again shortly. Take care.